my daughter literally about to die? Or are we gonna be in the biggest fight of our life?
I have 3 daughters, Claire, Quinn, and Reese.
You're forgetting me!
I feel extremely blessed and proud and happy and thankful that I have a husband who loves me and cares for me and takes care of our family. We just make a really good team together, I feel like, and we really work together. Some of our favorite things at our house are just the lake. We love playing in the garden. We love to go feed the chickens and see the goats and the dogs and the cats. And our girls absolutely love animals. They love to be outside. They're pretty much free-range children is what I would call them.
Quinn, go! Get out, Quinn! My name is Quinn, I'm 5. This is Duke and he's 10 years old. These are chickens and I'm going to tell you what their names are. Chickadee, Chicoletta, and Pecker. Pecker's the one who bites you like this. All the rest of them are dead. And there's also one named Fluffa. Yes, I know, yes, I know. What is this one? Happy Unicorn. Yeah, can I help you? Whoa! Where? Look!
I just thought that we were untouchable. I thought that everything was great, everything was fine, we were just trucking along, and then all of a sudden everything just kind of came crashing down.
I would just sit there and cry and just be upset and go, God, what are we doing here? We're wasting away in this hospital. And if she dies, what's this for? First time we knew that something was weird is that she bumped her head just like any normal kid does, and she had a bruise on her forehead. We noticed that that bruise just wasn't healing, and we'd go and we'd lay her in bed and she would just lay there. So we would take her out of her crib and we'd let her come and sit like on the ground or on the couch, and she just didn't want to move. And we thought to ourselves, well, that's not normal. We had another kid before. 15-month-old babies don't stay still. And we knew that there was something wrong. We took her to the doctor the first time. The doctor said that she has some type of virus. We took her back the very next week, and the doctor said that she has some type of pneumonia.
It just didn't seem to get better. It was just getting worse. And so November 24th, she was 15 months old, and she had just gone from bad to worse. She had stopped eating, wasn't sleeping well. She had really labored breathing, completely lethargic, didn't want to do anything. So we headed over to the ER. And they said, she doesn't have pneumonia, she's clear. And so we're like, okay, well then what is it? And it was just such a scary time to see your child that way and know that there's nothing you can do to help them.
We took her back to Dr. Huggins. She took blood samples. And I walk outside into the hallway, and I see Dr. Huggins over at a computer, and she was crying at the computer.
Dr. Huggins came in and said, you know, we ran blood tests and she has leukemia.
Leukemia is a very serious disease. It is fatal in certain instances.
It went from, we don't know, it might be pneumonia, to this is really serious.
Imagine you get told your daughter has cancer. And you're sitting there thinking to yourself, is my daughter literally about to die? Or are we gonna be in the biggest fight of our life?
Just going back there to that place. And just the emotions. And so we, texted and called close family and friends, and we said, they're life-flighting her. They're taking her by airplane to Texas Children's. And I remember just trying to just focus on the good and all the things that we had to be thankful for, and praying that we weren't going to lose her. Sorry. And then it just kind of started this roller coaster of, what do we do next?
A lot of times when patients ask why we couldn't find the cancer sooner is because cancer is very uncommon. If a patient comes with a 3-week history of lethargy, poor eating, poor feeding, odds are the flu is a much more likely diagnosis than cancer.
Now, leukemia overall is basically that you have cancer inside of your blood.
The leukemia cells were attacking her, but she couldn't have any chemotherapy to treat it. We had to get her to a point where she could sustain going under for that bone marrow biopsy, and that was kind of our goal. And they pumped her full of fluids. She looked extremely puffy. She probably gained about 10 pounds of fluid. She looked like a little marshmallow baby.
We found out at that time, 50 to 60% of those kids do not live after 5 years, which was heartbreaking. That's a big blow. That's a big one. Then they come in and tell us that we have a mutation inside of our leukemia cell, which means
with that specific mutation, they need a bone marrow transplant at the end of their treatment, or it will come back. And if they don't get that bone marrow transplant, they will not survive. We just started praying for someone to be a match for her, to be a bone marrow donor. Our church had a bone marrow drive where people came in and got their saliva swabbed and sent all those in, and tremendous support from our community, from our church. No match, still no match.
that was probably the hardest thing, because we had to wait and wait for so long for that to happen. And that hurt badly.
We're sitting there one day in Quinn's room, and our leukemia doctor comes in, and she just kind of nonchalantly says,
"Okay, I got news.
well, we found a match for Quinn."
And somehow, Dad, you are the donor." And we're just blown away. And we said, wait. We can't be the donor. You already told us we can't be the donor. We can't be the person. You told us that mom and dads can't do it because it's only a 50-50 shot. She said, "We know. Somehow, Dad, you became one." And so we thought to ourselves, God, that's just nothing but a miracle. And just imagine how exciting and how fun that was just to hear, as a dad, you get to save your daughter's life. That you get to be the one who actually rescues her from the things that's killing her. On the other hand, it's also a lot of pressure, because you're also thinking to yourself, what if it doesn't work? What if my blood kills her? We've gotten this far, and we've trusted God this whole way. Let's just trust Him again. A couple of weeks later, they sent me out. I would go and get a shot in the morning, and they would make me incredibly sick. And I did that every morning. And then the last morning I walk in, and they said, "You're ready." And so I go in and I get hooked up to this machine. On this arm, they start taking out blood. They cycle it through this machine, collecting all of the stem cells. Over here, they put back in blood. They just cycle blood through me. They're taking out the things that were in my bone marrow so they could make new bone marrow inside of my daughter. They had me hooked up to that thing for hours. I'm talking like 6 hours. I'm not joking. They end up filling up a bag about this big of nothing but my blood. It was so painful and so hurtful to give my blood. It hurt, but I get to be her hero. Would I go through that pain again? You could kill me as long as my kid gets to live. Going into bone marrow transplant unit, nurses walk in and they have all these gloves because they can't touch it. They're so like, oh, don't touch this and don't touch that. And they're so careful with this medicine. And yet you're thinking to yourself, you're about to put this in my kid. And then they put it inside of your little girl. And we go through maybe some of the worst chemo we've ever seen. It hit her like a ton of bricks. She had seizures. She couldn't eat. She was on a feed. I mean, like they had an automatic feeder that was already feeding her. She was on 4 different types of medications at one time, just pain. This chemotherapy was scary. I mean, it was beyond scary. April 15th, we're super excited, really pumped about it. This is the day of her rebirth, the day she's getting bone marrow. It took maybe 1 minute for him to do it. And we're thinking to ourselves, that was the most anticlimactic thing that we've ever been around. He said, yep, but the next 2 weeks are gonna be the hardest thing you've ever done. Because in that time period, her body could reject my stem cells. They could reject everything that I just gave her. We had to sit there and watch our daughter still hurt, still be in pain, still eat off of a machine. I always say that she actually took care of me more than I took care of her. Because I can't tell how many times that we were sitting there and she would look over at me and she'd put her hand on me and she'd go, Daddy, it's okay. Daddy, it's okay. So we sat there and waited. The numbers were representing her immune system. And we would always want to know what the numbers were. And they would say 0 and 0 and 0. We're just trying to build back her immune system. And it waited about 2.5 weeks. The next day we had 3. Boy, we had a party for 3. We loved 3. Again, you're supposed to have 500, but we'll take 3 any day of the week. The next day we had 40. The day after that we had about 140. We got to sit there and watch how this amazing miracle happened and changed everything. God, that's just nothing but a miracle. Then the 3rd week, we found out that this whole thing is gonna work. She was good. Her blood was changed and it saved her. And I get to have my DNA in her forever. Her blood has a male DNA. So when she bleeds, I bleed. Yeah, it was pretty amazing that I got to be a match for my daughter. I mean, because the odds are incredible. It's 1 in a million that me and my wife have the same gene that would actually work.
That's amazing. I mean, the fact that he was a match that could provide that, that's divine intervention.
I was here with Mom when they were going through the process. Watching her grow, it's been an amazing journey.
To stop the thing that's killing her and to make her clean, she needs to have the Father's blood to come inside of her and clean it. It's just like Jesus, what he does for us. And you think about it, if you know Jesus, your blood has been exchanged. When I look at her and I see her running around outside, I just think the grace of God is so big.
Quinn is full of life, full of energy. She brings joy and life to every situation. We always joke and say that if we could have a day in the life of Quinn, it would be the best day ever because it would be rainbows and butterflies. We actually changed her middle name to Joy because she's just so full of joy. Everything she does, it seems like a brand new experience.
I just don't know that I can imagine life without her.
I beat cancer.